Hello, you're watching TTV. I'm your host, Charlie Christmas, and this is the Big Small Business Show. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about design and construction. So if you have a design company or you want to open one, or perhaps you want to study interior design, or maybe you are already practicing interior design, this is the episode for you. Join us. Today, it is my great pleasure to welcome our guest, Kaiser from Palm. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's an absolute pleasure to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. It has. It has been quite some time.
It has. Yeah. So the last time I saw you, we were just coming out of lockdowns and goodness knows what else. It had been a really challenging time for all of us. But you know, I'm so happy that you're here today. Two designers together. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Firstly, I would just like you to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. Time in Oman. I know that you've studied in the UK. So your background.
So basically, I run a transdisciplinary design studio that is known as Palm. We basically put design thinking to the forefront. So whatever space we design or whatever processes we design, it's basically incorporating human-centered design elements into it. I was born and raised in Oman, so I pretty much am very familiar with the whole ecosystem, the business ecosystem. I have a lot of friends and family who are Omanis locals, and so it has really helped with starting up in Oman. And I went to school here. And I went to university. I got accredited by universities in the UK. And I came back and I was like, okay, this is, it's time to serve Oman. And here I am.
Wow, look at you. Yeah. So obviously you came back to Oman and you set up your own business. What prior experience running a business did you have? Or did you start completely from scratch and just learn as you went along?
I think when I got back to Oman, I interned in a couple of companies that were doing construction and that were doing design, and that really helped, understand the ecosystem, understand how businesses work in Oman and stuff. And then I also have a background from my family side that is into business as well, so that helped a great deal. And then when I spent almost 2 years interning at different institutions, different types of institutions, advertising agencies, construction companies. I was just trying to find that the niche in the market that I can actually work towards and make a difference. So I always was looking for something impactful, and I thought design would be the best way to express myself and express what another person thinks or about a space or what it is. And I started off pretty much after 18 or 20 months into interning at different institutions. I just decided to start my own practice.
Okay. So, it's really interesting actually that you've touched on internships because it's a question that comes up all the time on the Muscat Entrepreneurs Facebook group. Can my daughter intern? Can my son intern? They have a break, college, etc., etc. How easy or difficult was it for you to find those internships? And how does it really work in Oman?
So I think when it comes down to internships back then, it was very, very difficult. And now internships are part of the curriculum at schools as well. Okay. All right. Or and you have the law that has just been very recently passed where you have people, locals who can actually, earn and work part-time. Then when you were interning, it wasn't necessarily paid. And that was a challenge that I think one had to overcome because you're going to work. You're doing a 9 to 5 and you're not getting paid for it. Mm-hmm. So it was a challenge in terms of finances, a challenge in terms of motivation because you're working and you're, it depends how serious you are, but for me, it was like I was there to just grasp the knowledge and take away a lot. So for me, it was whether I worry about the financial aspect of it or whether I should worry about how much I'm learning from it.
And you did that for 2 years?
Yes, I did that for almost 2 years.
That's
yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So you obviously gained quite a lot of knowledge that helped you move forward.
Yeah, and I think it was necessary because I needed that knowledge to start. I needed that those skills, the skill sets required to start, which you don't get to learn at university or you don't get to learn at schools because it wasn't taught back then.
Yeah.
So I went into the real world, as they say, and I learned that it's all different from what it is in the books. It's good to have prior knowledge, textbook knowledge, but the actual experience is a whole lot different, and the world is a whole lot different.
Yes.
So meeting different people, different cultures, the way to write a letter, the way you want to record data. So it was a challenge. It was a great challenge because it was a learning experience. So I'd say it's very important for one to intern, and now you've got paid internships. So it's just an icing on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can
and it's so great to see things progressing in that direction. It's so important, absolutely. As you say, that we offer these opportunities to the youngsters.
And that's what I do. That's what I do at our firm as well. Like if I see someone who not necessarily is great at her or his skill, but has the drive to learn, then that's what I want. I don't want someone who's already so experienced and already knows it all.
Yeah, you want to nurture.
Yeah, precisely, because that's my way of giving back. And I think even the employees we have the same system where we basically ensure that they take away a lot that they can, and they're progressive professionally and personally. So that's the way we give back as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I would like to say post-COVID. It's not really post-COVID. Obviously, we're still going to feel the effects of COVID for many years to come, sadly and unfortunately. What would you say, in your opinion, are the main challenges that face design and construction today in the Sultanate? Obviously, things have massively changed in the past 2.5 years to what they were before the pandemic hit. Have you seen the effects of those changes?
I think the changes in design are very, very different from the changes in construction. So when it comes down to design, as we were discussing, design has, we're looking for a more cohesive solution, a one-stop solution to everything. So nowadays, if you would design a space, you would want to enter the space, without touching anything, making sure this space is, promoting wellness, it's inspirational, it's safe, it's trustworthy. And we can take it from residential designs to office space designs to retail design. The experience has drastically changed now. So, and people have become more accommodating. In fact, they want to see that. They want to feel safe in an environment they're going, because we're going to see a very gradual re-engagement within communities.
Yeah.
And when you see that, you're not going to have someone, you can't you can't switch on and just get people to go to malls again, or get people to go to arenas again, or whatever. You're going to see a very gradual re-engagement. And those spaces need to be designed bearing in all these perspectives, that it's safe, it's secure, it's, it's promoting wellness, and what design is all about. So we are now more cautious when we're designing, and it's not just about aesthetics, but it's more to do with the fact that it's incorporating all the human aspects of a space and of design, and that's how the design has changed. When we talk about construction, I feel when it comes down to construction, the lack of workforce is a key factor these days. You can't find project managers who would stick to a project because they're working on multiple projects.
Yes.
So then that deteriorates, the output. We can't find skilled labor because of the restrictions that we have. And how do we manage that, and how do we maneuver that? So I feel construction, these two are huge challenges that we have to overcome. It's actually a global challenge when it comes to the construction industry, because every year that goes by, less and less is being done about keeping people in construction, and that you could say is negative because of these aspects. But then the integration of technology, can necessarily change this as well. Like, you wouldn't have someone on the 21st floor fixing something if we introduce robotics into, construction.
Yes.
So we're not really getting rid of people in construction, but we're trying to integrate technology into construction. So post-COVID, yes, we should see a lot of that. And this is possibly a solution in order to to overcome this major obstacle.
Yeah. I'm in total agreement with you. Again, obviously we do similar things, but seen a huge decrease in labor.
Skilled labor.
And it's really very problematic. And because there isn't enough skilled labor, obviously prices have gone through the roof. So profit margins are being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. Plus, obviously, the cost of materials has also shot through the roof, and there is a lack of quantity. And ever more projects seem to be coming, through. So it's a really difficult situation.
I'll give you an example. Like, if you had a project that was quoted for in the year 2020, and it was a project that you quoted for in the year 2020, and the finishing time was like 3 or 4 years later, it's a commercial building.
Yes.
You're not sustainable.
No.
You can't. You cannot deliver the project on time because the prices of raw materials
or within
have changed.
Budget.
Yeah, or within budget.
Yeah.
So the prices of raw materials have changed. Supply chains have drastically been impacted. So how do you actually deliver on time, get your money, and make profit, or even break even for that matter? And that leads to a project being on hold or disputed or whatever. So I feel like there's a lot that can or should be done.
What's the solution?
I feel so. I would always we're looking at a shift in human nature as well, right? So we are looking at technology advancements. I feel that we as a nation, as people, we need to start looking at the enhancing the experience of design and construction through technology, and we're not just eliminating the small obstacles that can be otherwise that can otherwise become very big by the integration of technology. So I think technology has one solution. The second solution that I would say is proper guidance and mentorship when it comes to skilled workforce. So if you don't, you become skilled at a job once you do it on and very often, right? So if we have people from universities and colleges or students or whatever who are mentored the right way in order to work in the construction industry with the necessary technologies, we would have that demand and supply gap at least met to a certain degree, and we wouldn't face these issues that we face these days as being in the same industry.
No, that's really interesting. Now, I know that you have worked and actually done courses for some of our students that are coming through, not just design students, but obviously picked from other areas. Bearing in mind there's so much construction happening in Oman and due to happen in Oman, do you feel like there is enough local talent coming into the market to sustain all this growth?
So let's put it this way. We've got SMEs that are, I'm not talking about larger companies, obviously, I'm talking about SMEs. When we look at SMEs, I was reading this article that was actually published by one of the local agencies regarding SMEs. And out of, if I'm not wrong, 3.2% of SMEs actually register themselves in construction. And a majority of them are service-based industries that are like in F&B or, so on and so forth. So when we talk about local talent, graduates, yes. We have a lot of graduates that come out that are studying civil because it's real estate or it's civil or there's, it's sort of a boom. How many end up studying or practicing, construction or becoming civil engineers, I think it's very little. Not as much, because the industry requires dedication, patience, and you'd end up working at a bank as opposed to working as a civil engineer, because you would probably not have the opportunity, or because the company cannot afford to pay the salaries, or because of XYZ factors. So what happens is that if you're only very dedicated, you end up there. And I also would like to mention this on your show, that we need to have more females integrated in the construction industry, because we have, I've visited an engineering college very recently, and I walked into their civil engineering department and I saw so many females.
Oh, wonderful.
And it was great to see that women are deciding to come into the fields of construction. But when you actually go into the construction fields and you don't see them.
Okay.
So if you were studying civil engineering,
where have you gone?
Yeah. Where are you practicing civil engineering?
Yeah.
And it's a very, if done right, and if done keeping latest trends in mind and keeping safe practices in mind, it's a very, very rewarding field. So where have you gone?
Yeah.
Why are you not there? So I feel like we need to have a more, like the society, the ecosystem has to be more welcoming towards females as well.
So do you feel we need to focus more on incentivizing people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes, and it comes down to bringing the local talent forward. But in the construction industry, you need to roll your sleeves up and get your hands dirty at times, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
you need to be okay to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's sustainable. That takes you to the next, that's an extra mile that gets you many
to the next
more.
level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about you and what you're doing. You have a new company, Palm. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know that you have some really wonderful initiatives coming up. You're brand new.
Yeah.
Where are your hopes? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself doing crazy things in the metaverse.
Good.
That's probably building and designing things in the metaverse. But I see myself personally getting into the diving deeper into the ecosystem and trying to help SMEs, or trying to help designers or architects, or just generally people who want to start a business.
Creatives.
Yeah, creatives.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help them, empower them, and I want them to excel in the field, because we have so much of untapped potential in the country, and we have so much of talent that if they're not given the right mentorship and the right mindset and the right creative skills, or enable them with the right technology in order for them to progress, it would just go to waste.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now, I'd probably see myself doing that. I, at the moment, have progressed from just doing interiors and construction and architecture. I've progressed into design thinking and designing processes, strategies, concepts, building brands. And I enjoy it, because what the world needs to realize now is that we sort of saw this coming, but we were late to adopt to the trends or the technology or whatever. So now that we're going through it, I wouldn't say we've gone through it, but we're going through it. I'd say it's important to understand that everything we do is human-centered, and everything revolves around the human. So if we're having safety measures taken, it's for the human, for mankind, for humans. And if we're talking about design, it's for how to make you feel a certain way. So if we're talking about food, it's because you want to taste food a certain way. So everything revolves around the human. So that's why I thought, let me get into more, let me study human-centered design a little more deeper, so that I can apply the same processes, sit with a designer and a civil engineer and a lawyer, and come up with a cohesive solution.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's basically what I see. So 10 years from now, I think I would be doing something of that sort. Yeah.
So For our viewers who are at home, who have obviously enjoyed hearing you and your opinions and your advice, what would be your take-home piece of advice for anyone who wants to go into construction, go into design, or who already has set up and are at the start of their journey? What would you advise them how to move forward with?
Charlie, if it was design and construction, as we mentioned, it's a challenging domain. It might look very easy, but it's extremely challenging. Because when it comes down to design and construction, time management, cash flow, everything else plays a key role. So I wouldn't say never give up, because that goes without saying. You're getting into business, you need to have consistency, you should never give up. And there's so many other things that are easily available online. But through my experience, the one thing I would say is your contracts need to be 100% thorough. Your contracts should be your holy Bible.
Yeah. They are the holy grail for design and construction.
Yeah, the holy grail. Your contracts are everything. So I would say get in touch with a lawyer, get in touch, make sure that your contract is done right. You understand your contract really well. You understand what the contract you're signing really, and then that would be my takeaway advice. And I think don't be scared. Go bigger, go better, go bigger.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly. Go big or go home, but go bigger, go better. Do things that you think could help you personally and professionally, and take it as a challenge. But yeah, I think this would be something that I would strongly advise. And I think contracts.
Good.
They need to be 100% understood and thoroughly delivered, so that you know exactly what each clause means, what happens, and how it happens.
Yeah, that is
and sorry, if I could say one more thing, I think people should also be very considerate towards SMEs. Give them a chance, because like when a fresh graduate comes into an office and says, you go like, oh no, but we were looking for experience, but that person would never get experience if he's never employed somewhere.
Yeah.
So I feel like for the big fish, they need to give SMEs a chance, and they contribute 17 or 18% to the GDP today. But that is a substantial contribution, and it should increase, because SMEs are actually the backbone for nations to thrive. Startups and SMEs are for nations to thrive, because that's where the innovation happens.
Yes.
That's where we're actually going through the obstacles and going through and finding out possible solutions for issues that the world might face later on. So yeah, I feel like give SMEs the chance, give them the opportunity, give individuals the chance and opportunity, and not just judge them based on certain grades or a certain thing, but give them an opportunity. Yeah. Be open to it.
They're definitely going to bring something to the table for sure.
Yeah.
Kaiser Mohammed, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
It was a pleasure being here.
We have loved listening to you.
Thank you.
As ever, remember, if you have any questions for Kaiser, pop them in the comments below. Thank you. See you next week, 8 o'clock Sunday. Join us on the Big Small Business Show every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TTV. Join us on the Big Small Business Show every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TTV.